Hello everyone. So today in this video we are going to discuss second category of the loop, which is a while loop. So we know that we have already used this kind of loop for loop where in this particular loop it's going from 1 and it's going to 10, right? Now whatever I type inside the body of this particular loop is going to be printed that many times. So as it is printing shown here. Now suppose I want to do the same thing with a while loop, another kind of loop, then how I have to do that? So let me show you. We have a Let me scroll up and show it to you. So when I scroll up, this is the syntax of the while loop. Now, if you observe that in a for loop, the syntax was uh, for I in range 1 comma 10 plus 1. So that means on the very single line, you have mentioned that from where the loop is starting, this is the starting value, and up to where the loop is going, ending, this is the ending value. Plus 1, we have to give an extra factor because it doesn't go to the last element, it goes one beyond. So if I have to take it to 10, I have to actually say 11. So that's why the plus 1 factor is there. So now you want to do the same thing with the while loop, all right? So here we can change the syntax of this. So I have to start the loop with value of I as 1. Before the loop start, I have to myself initialize I equals to 1. Then my condition comes with a while. So while I is less than equals to 10, and then I'll print I, and then I'll update I, right? So what I mean to say here is, in the for loop, this is the starting value. So in the while loop, you put the starting value in the beginning. In the for loop, you don't have any condition which is comparing. So this is the end point only mentioned. So you can say this is the end point for a while loop up to where it will go. And then here we are not mentioning any updates or any increment, but over here we have to mention that how the loop is going to update and increase. Here we are not doing anything else. So that means in the for loop, you don't have to mention the update. In while loop, you have to mention update also. So you have to mention the initial value, you have to mention the ending value, you have to mention the update. But whereas in the for loop, you only have to mention the initial value, initial position, and the ending position. That's the difference between a syntax of the for and while loop. Now, how does it goes? It runs. It will do exactly the same thing as it was doing. If I print hello here, it's going to execute and give me the same output as the for loop was giving earlier. So when I run it, might take a time to connect to the server for the first time, but in a while it will connect and give me the output. So since we have print hello being written inside the while loop, and the while loop is running for 10 times, so this should give me the same output 10 times printing of the word hello, right? Now, it's not necessary that you print a hello inside only. You can print the value of I also. If I want to print the value of I and I want them in continuous order, right? With a comma in between, just like a series, I can do that. I have to close bracket. Okay, so when I run this, yeah, it gives me the printing of all the numbers like this. Yeah, so I can choose the while loop to print series also. How? Let me print the series of the even number, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, right? So now I told you that you should not disturb the loop variable. You should not use the loop variable for printing a series. Yeah, here I showed you by printing the value of I, but you should not use the value of I for printing the series, right? The reason is, in case if you make changes in the loop variable, your loop get disturbed. So if I'm printing the series of the even numbers like 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on up to say 20. Yeah. So what I have to do? My first term is 2. So I have to say term equals to 2. Now I equals to 1, so I always have to say because that's a loop variable. So term equals to 2. And then if I'm printing the sum also, I have to say sum equals to 0 also. Now I'll run my loop as while I is less than equal to what is the last term? 20, right? But so you'll go like this. Okay. And then what you have to print? You have to print the term, term with the end equals to comma. And then how the terms are increasing? The terms are increasing by 2. You can observe, see it over here. So term equals to term plus 2, depending on your series, right? So when I run this code, it's going to print me all this thing. Let's just see where is the error. It says print and turn. Okay, the spelling of turn is not typed properly. So now it should go. Okay. So it's going to 40 because there are 20 terms, because this value tells you how many terms. So if I have to go to 20 only, I should say there will be 10 terms, right? So I have to say 10. Then it will go till this particular exact thing. All right. But when the question, it's your choice which kind of loop you use. It's never asked for a problem that do with this loop or that loop. So you can use, if you're comfortable with for loop, you can use for loop at all, every time. Okay. Now we have a next statement is break statement. Break statement, as the name says, it takes the control out of the loop from a certain point. Now what does I mean by that? So here in this set of code, I'm running a loop from 1 to n, and then I'm printing a value of I at the beginning and end of the loop. Let's see. See, when I give the value, and then it prints value of I at start. What is the value of I and what is the value of I? Okay. Now I would like to introduce a break here. Now what I do is I put a condition like if n is if I is more than 5, then I want to break. So then what should happen? Let's first run and check it out. When you give the value of n, then you see till 5, all the values are printing, the starting and ending values printing, but when it goes to value more than 5, it just prints the starting and doesn't print the ending because the control has been taken out of the loop for that. Okay, so that's how the break statement works. If I is more than say 5, continue. Okay, so when I run it and give a value, you see, okay, it's coming to the new line. Let me just format it properly. So a new line here, which will make it come to the new line after the continue. Okay, now you see, till 5, the starting and the ending of loop are getting printed. But as and when the value of I becomes more than 5, then only starting is printed. It will not go to the end. From that point itself, from that if condition itself where continue is encountered, it goes to the beginning of the loop and continues for the next iteration. So that's how the continue works. So break takes the control out of the loop and stops the loop. But continue takes the control out of the loop but continues without executing the remaining part of the loop. So it does not execute the ending part of the loop. The continue will not execute the ending part of the loop. So it won't execute anything which is after the continue as it is behaving here. Okay.